This is vomit.
Welcome everyone to Actors Centre Australia in our In Conversation series. It's great to have you on board, and a very special welcome to our guest live from Los Angeles, Harriet Dyer. Welcome, Harriet.
Hi, Dino.
How are you going?
I'm good. I'm good. We're doing that thing where we pretend that we didn't just chat for the last 10 minutes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
How are you?
I'm good. Hey, since graduating from ACA in 2011, your passion and commitment to the industry has led your credits to include things like No Activity, Rake, Janet King, Black Comedy. You starred in 4 seasons of Love Child, which you received 3 Logie Award nominations and an Actor Award nomination. Bacchanal for the STC, which won you a Sydney Theatre Award for Best Performance. You debuted on Broadway in Peter Pan at New York's New Victory Theatre. The feature film Killing Ground, which screened at the Sundance Film Festival. Recently acted along Elizabeth Moss in the feature film The Invisible Man. Played the lead for NBC in the drama TV series The In-Between, now living and working in Los Angeles. Wouldn't it have been better and quieter to stay in Townsville?
Yeah, although my parents are pretty loud. They're watching. Hi, Mum and Dad. Dad's apparently rigged it up on the telly, so I just got a text. It would have been a very, very different life. Neither better or worse, but definitely a different life. And it was like something I felt as a teenager. I had this great fear of leaving Townsville because we all get on so well in my family, and I'd never really done, we'd gone places, but you know, I was 18 and a small person. But there was something, I knew I had to go, and that's why I came to Sydney. But I didn't really foresee a move to Los Angeles. I didn't think that would be my vibe. But here I am, eating my words.
There you are. And what was was there a moment where you sort of fell in love with acting? Because I know you love it so much.
I do love it. I always loved it, but I think the question was whether it would love me, like whether it would be something that I could make a viable career out of. And I grew up doing musicals and plays and dancing and Eisteddfods and all those things that you can do in a small town from the age of like 6. And it wasn't until, there was a part of me that thought maybe you had to look a certain way, and that I didn't look that way to be an actress or an actor professionally. And then I saw Muriel's wedding when I was 14 years old, and I was sitting on I remember the feeling of the rug under my like knees. And I watched that bit where Toni Collette, who's playing Mariel at the time, just cries, big ugly tears in the wedding, the change room with the wedding dress on. And I was like, oh, everyone can do it. Like she's showing her soul right now, and it's not pretty. And something about that moment made me go, oh, I'll give it a go.
Fantastic. But isn't it amazing that theatre and film and TV capture so much of what it is to be alive and to be a breathing, vulnerable, exposed, searching, needy human being? And we get so much from that interchange. I mean, what do you look for when you work on a character? Is there some way that you come into it? I know that Hugh said to me that he looks at the value system of the character, for what the character stands for. Is there some way that you find your way into sitting inside that soul of that person?
It's always in the script for me, and then the bits outside of the script are kind of like jazz. I grew up listening to a lot of jazz. My dad plays a lot of jazz, and there's the song, and I feel like that's probably the script, and the lyrics are the words they've written, and then all the feelings around it maybe are more like experimental, and they're not always, you don't hit the note and it sounds right. Like there can be a lot of wrong notes in there. But I think once I go from like the text, beyond that, I just have to always believe what I'm doing. The second I don't believe it, or I don't believe the words that I'm saying, I've lost myself. And once I've lost myself, I don't want to keep going. Like I just always endeavor to believe everything I'm saying. So I guess the way I would describe that in like a character work, it's like commitment or something. Like I have both feet in both shoes. I have to believe everything I say. Like, for example, that NBC clairvoyant show I did, I was on the fence about that kind of stuff. And so people were like, are you going to do research? You're going to go speak to a clairvoyant? And I didn't want to, because at that point I could still believe. And if I went and it was a bad experience where I thought, oh, you're not real, then I would have trouble believing myself, playing the role. So I actually did less research to hold on to this like nugget of belief I had in clairvoyance.
But that's really interesting. I mean, that's really interesting, isn't it? Because we talk a lot in acting class about courage and commitment. And there's something about the actor, what you're just saying now, there's something about the actor saying, this is real, this is happening now. And I say yes. I say yes to who you are, who I am, where we are. I say yes to it all. And just by saying yes, the body starts to feel and the soul responds.
Absolutely. And that's why if you're playing, like when I did The Killing Ground, I couldn't go out with friends on the weekend and just hang out. Like I'd been running around in a bush all week, pretending I'd been held at gunpoint. Like it's really hard just to be like, I'm all good. Like if you've committed the way I try to, without it taking over your life, it does, it costs you something that you just wait till you finish filming to kind of, to occupy a different space in your head or something. I'm not like a method person, but I can get very tired if it's a big challenging role and I'm trying to commit to it every day.
Yeah, well, there's something that, as you would know, and the actors are learning here about being able to, it's a self-investment acting more than a lot of other professions I can think of. There's a huge self-investment, but there needs to be that self-detachment as well. As you say, it's very hard to go back to work on Monday filming if you've been out partying and drinking and socializing, to switch back into it. But there's something about keeping ourselves distant from our work and going, we're not our career, we're us, and we need some downtime now. We need to look after us.
That's right. And that's, if nothing else, that's what COVID's giving me. I mean, I'm averaging like 11 hours a night right now. The other day, I think yesterday, our alarm went off because someone had a doctor's appointment. It was like, what's happening? But yeah, you gotta give your all and then take the time that is offered later. I mean, it's wishful. It's careful what you wish for, sorry, a bit, because I had just finished a gig in Sydney mid-March and I'd flown out on Monday and you land here on Wednesday. And then Thursday I was at a costume fitting and everything was going well in the morning. And Thursday night, the producer called of the pilot here and was like, we're just going to have a 2-week coronavirus break. And I was like, oh, okay. And then 2 weeks turns into 15 weeks. And I only just found out the other day that it's still going ahead.
Wow.
But that was me on the plane over here. I was like, I'd love a week. I'd love a week between the two gigs, and here I am.
Now you got 14, maybe 16. Yeah. When you do get back to work, what do you think are the most important things that an actor takes to the set every day with them, or to the rehearsal room floor? Like, are there things that stand out for you? That I know what it is for me. I think there's a sense of play I love. I love a sense of focus. I love a sense of camaraderie in the room, that it helps everybody, I think, jump to that place we need to be, into that performance place. But what do you feel that is really important for an actor when you walk onto a set? What comes along with you?
I never want to bring my day or anything that's happened to me personally with me. Like, if everybody did that, oh my God, could you imagine how... Did you hear that? Sorry. We have fireworks. It's leading up to the 4th of July, and I live in a very firework happy neighborhood, and they are every night. And my dog hates it.
You're sure it is fireworks in Los Angeles?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. We were away, and then we came back, and while we were away, all the riots and things had happened. And so then we came back to our little house, and we heard the fireworks, and we're like, oh my God, it's gunshots. And then we asked our neighbor, and they were like, no, it's not.
Wow.
So if we hear them, I beg your pardon. My favorite thing to bring on a set, and then I also like to see other people do it, is, if you've had a shitty phone call with your accountant, forget it. Just bring a really good attitude. I don't even really care if you're not like prepared. I think so much of the work happens in the moment. Like, if you don't know any of your lines, that's a total pain. But like, if you've been working, you know, the 14-hour day before, and you just got your lines, like, people are pretty forgiving of that kind of thing, as long as you have a smile on your face and you are flexible. And if we've been rehearsing one scene and they suddenly go, oh, it's raining, we've got to go in here, don't have a fit. Just keep malleable, and listening, because even when some people do this terrible thing where when the coverage is both of you, they're fantastic, and the coverage is just them, they're fantastic, and then camera comes on to me and I'm talking to them, and they're gone. And it's not even that they had to cry or laugh hysterically. Like, it's not like they had maybe a big thing to do that they were tired from doing, but just this, I've done my bit, so what am I going to have for dinner? That's actually more distracting than anything, I think. So I think if they're my favorite things that a person could bring to set, is just always listening and having a good attitude.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, if a person is not there, if they're vacant, it'd be much better to act to a broomstick.
Yes, it'd be less distracting.
Yeah. I find that interesting when I walk into a room to work with actors, or in a class or directing. The character doesn't know what's going to happen. No. We may know, and we do. We've read the script, but the character doesn't know. So I think one of the magic things to bring is, where am I here? What time is it right now? And we are completely connected. Whether I like what's happening around me or not, I'm connected to it. And once you get that system plugged in, the rest will tend to want to come.
That's it. And if we're doing a scene together, your make-believe and my make-believe don't have to be the same thing. You know, you might be like looking around thinking it's raining, or it's I had lasagna, my character had lasagna 2 hours. It doesn't matter. Like, I was working with this guy who was like, so where do you think you went to college? Where did you go to college? And I said, I don't know. And he went, no, where? And I went, Portland. And he was like, okay, but where in Portland? And I felt like saying, this is your shit, not my shit. It does not help me to know where my character went to university 3 years ago. I don't care. Quite frankly, for me, that's noise. That's not my process. But that's your process. So why don't you go and do that, and then we'll meet on set? Like, it's like your versions of being there together don't have to be the same, and you shouldn't ever put your process on someone else, I think.
That's right. I was talking to an actor here only a few days ago who was playing Kostya in The Seagull, and I talked about the possibility of having a letter he's written to Nina asking her to marry him in his back pocket on stage, but never reveals to the actress playing Nina. He's got that. But having that tucked in his back pocket.
A letter that he wrote, you said, or she wrote?
No, he wrote to her. He's going to give her a letter saying, I want you to marry me.
Yeah.
but it's tucked in his back pocket. He knows it, but she doesn't. That was something. And I said to him, if you told her, it would then obligate her. That's a part of your process, not hers, as you're saying.
Exactly. And even just to be like backstage, like, I've actually got this letter, and it's anyway, it's like, oh, just shut up, no one cares, keep your letter. Like, it's so good to have a secret that's your secret, and other characters can have their secrets. And my favorite thing is when a director comes up on set and just gives a note to one person, like, and so you're like, oh, that's exciting. If I want to know what that is, I've got to really pay attention, because they're going to serve me something different now. And the director knows you're watching them, and they deliberately didn't go, so I think what you should do, sorry, Harriet, if you don't mind, we'll do this. Like, they've done it on purpose to kind of punk you, and that's great. That's exciting.
Yes, I love those moments when we're in rehearsal and I'll walk up to one of the actors and just whisper and go, I wouldn't take that shit from her.
Yeah, you're really good at that. I remember that.
Let her get away with it. Who does she think? And then suddenly action, and everyone's going, what? You know.
Yeah. Oh, he's not taking it now.
Yeah. I want to talk about comedy with you, because a number of years ago I heard Lyle Jones, who was head of acting at WAPA, said that to play comedy well, the actor has to have a sense of humour. The character may not, and probably won't. They won't find it funny at all. They're having their worst day. They're in fight or flight, perhaps. They're in pain. But unless the actor has a sense of humour about that, the choices won't be funny. The choices will make it end up being drama. What's your take on that?
That's a really interesting take. It's like you got to get jokes to make jokes kind of thing. But, I mean, the people that make me laugh, I can imagine that they would be hilarious. I mean, but then there's this golden kind of zone. I have met a few people that are quite funny and they don't know it, and they don't have much of a sense of humor. So there's the exception to every rule. But I think it helps. I think knowing the way you're going to kind of craft a comedic moment, if you know what it would be like to sit and watch it and laugh, I think that must help, without it being then too knowing. Like, do you know what I mean? I think comedy, unless you're like Jerry Seinfeld sitting and studying jokes as he does, like just studies them, what's the best laugh I can get? I think that's very different. A comedian to a comedic actor is completely different, because if I put blood, sweat and tears into how am I going to get this the best way, and then, you know, a siren goes past, it's over. How do I recapture that lightning in a bottle? But I think you probably don't necessarily need to have a good sense of humor, but it certainly helps, and it makes the gig a whole lot more fun.
Yeah. Well, it means that you've got rather than getting angry as a character, you might try and get even, which changes the choices you start to make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's funny with, I feel like you can't, I probably shouldn't say this to someone who runs an acting school, but I think it's very hard to teach comedy. I think people can learn to become much better actors, but there's something about comedy, and you can teach people to try and unlearn what they think is funny, and then that makes them more funny, I think. Yeah. But it's a really hard thing to teach, because it's mostly timing, and that sounds like maths, but it's not. Yeah.
When I work with in comedy classes, I talk about one really good thing is to have your character become indignant.
You just broke up then.
Have your character become indignant.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Once they're indignant, everything starts to be funny, because there's frustration, there's anxiety, there's exasperation.
Yeah. You've got to, angry is funny. Angry is always funny. And so sad. Basically anything that's deeply human and honest, I think is funny. Hope is funny. Whatever it is, as long as it's really real, I think that's where the golden little keyhole is for certain people that don't have a great sense of humor being funny. If they're just brilliant actors, they can make people laugh by that commitment, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now we've got 4 wonderful actors at ACA for you to meet. We've got Rose from year 1, Tivi from year 2, Greta from year 3, and Olivia from year 4.
So good.
Yeah. And they've got some questions for you. We might go to Greta, maybe from year 3.
Hey, how are you?
Good, Greta, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So recently we've been having a lot of discussions about what it's like to kind of be a female in our industry at the moment. We're doing Shakespeare plays, and we've kind of realized that it's really hard to find a character that we love to play in Shakespeare. And so I guess like in The Other Guy, you kind of play like the larrikin kind of role of the show, which is kind of rare, I guess, like as a female to get that kind of character. So like what would you say are like the limitations that there still are for us in the industry?
Particularly, do you mean specifically in Shakespeare?
Yeah, just in general, like is it, do you feel the same way? Like are the roles that you kind of get offered, or like the auditions you get to go for, is it all still like the same kind of playing field, or do you feel like it's opening up, or like what? Yeah.
I think it's changed a lot since I graduated, which I realized today was 9 years ago. 9 years ago. But things are changing. I think Stevie and The Other Guy was really great for Australian television because she is she's not attached to AJ romantically, sexually, nothing. She's just her own person, which is a bit like Elaine and Seinfeld, you know. The tricky thing with comedic roles, they are generally written for men, and it's an old-fashioned and frustrating thing that it's slowly changing, but it is still, if you looked at kind of the amount of comedic roles out there in television right now, they would be like probably 75% male. The funny best friend in movies is generally funny guys. And so I think we just got to keep being funny. I think we just have to keep proving that women are funny and doing our own kind of funny. Like we don't have to try and be bloke funny, but funny that makes women laugh. And that men might be like, I don't care, I don't know if that's funny, but we weren't doing it for you anyway. We've been laughing at men trying to make men laugh for so long just because that's what's been on telly. So just, I don't know, just lean into the femaleness of it. Maybe that's the thing to do. Like, if you're feeling that it's hard to find these roles, I mean, that's one thing. But once you've got one, just kind of work out what your funny is and then put your own stamp on it. But I do think you're graduating at a good time because everything's changing. Diversity is huge, and that is about gender as well, and gender roles, and I think you're coming out at a good time. So I don't think you need to be too concerned, and just keep looking forward, I think.
Great. And Rose, what's your question for Harriet?
Hi, Harriet. So I guess in being a first year, this is all very new and very exciting for me learning. The obvious question would be like, what's your advice for young actresses? But I sort of want to know what piece of a golden advice you picked up from ACA that you wish you had, like when you first, like what's your advice for an actress going into her education now?
Going into first year now?
Yeah, like when you were in school, what was something that you wish you had been told? Like pay attention to this class more, or like what should I really be focusing on?
Something I learned at the end of drama school, or like now?
I guess weaving them together, like something, yeah, maybe now, like you've been like, maybe you're on set somewhere and be like, oh God, this is like a class, like I learned this in a class that I didn't like think I was using, or like, yeah.
I think training is the best thing an actor can do. So you're already nailing it. But I really think that acting school, as is with anything, you get out what you put in. So if you just give all of yourself, you'll get so much back. And it doesn't pay to sit on the fence. It doesn't pay to be small. That will not help. It's scary to jump into everything, but just try to. And also just have the best time, because it is the best time. Everything gets a lot more fucking difficult once you're auditioning and you're out there. Like, I just say, just eat it up, and you don't have to go crazy with living, sleeping, and breathing the works of, I don't know, Eugene O'Neill. You don't have to sleep with Chekhov under your pillow or anything, but immerse yourself in what it is to be at acting school for you. And that's different things for different people. But I just say the effort and reward, I think, are pretty similar, even if it's not immediately obvious. But there are people that I went through with that didn't really try much, and within a month they were working in an office. It's like they never wanted to. So if you really want to do this, just give it everything and see what happens. Is living small is not, won't do it for you.
It's great. It's true, isn't it, Harriet, that when you're at drama school, it's a precious period of time because there is no commercial pressure. You don't have to come up with the goods. There is no demands coming from producers, or there are from directors, but for different reasons. So it's a wonderful time to, as you say, breathe, be brave, connect. Fail. Yes, find things out. It's fantastic.
You'll never have another place where you can fail so intimately and with very little repercussion. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you fail hugely in an STC general, then that's a bad feeling. but to fail gloriously, and even if it's gone to the, like, a public performance level, and you're all putting on one of your shows and you fail in that's fine. Fail in that's fine.
Well, yeah, the definition of failure for us at Actors Centre is information. Failure is information. Oh, I've learned something now. I can grow. I can develop. I can strengthen that. You know, I can work with more precision now because of that. And if you do that early on in rehearsal and in the course, then you start to learn and grow much faster.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. You can, like, it's like shedding. It's like you're a snake, and the more you kind of learn, you shed more and more skin, but you'd rather shed more and just become your more fully thought out self than just be safe. It's like all of those animals that lose their skeletons.
Yes.
The lobster. Is the lobster one? Anyway, be a lobster.
And everyone's laughing. Who's got a pressing question for Harriet?
Pressing?
Who's got a pressing question? Yes, Olivia. I think, yes, Olivia's going, yes.
Hello, yes. Sort of a good transition off Rose's question, I'd say. Being in fourth year now, and those of us that are about to graduate into the industry, what was your experience like leaving drama school? What worked and what didn't, and what advice would you give to those of us who are so close to leaving this institution and being birthed into the industry?
Okay. So when's your, like, showcase? Do you have a showcase with coronavirus?
Yeah, so it's going to be in December.
Oh, great. And what are we, June? Okay, fun. It's hard not to, but really try not to compare yourself to anyone else. It's really hard not to when you're, I went when it was still at Surrey Hills. We're still in Surrey Hills, and we had to get ready for showcase in this tiny room at the back of the church. There was like one mirror for 13 women and a few guys, and we were putting on our makeup, and it's just a really important time to just stay in yourself without closing people off or anything, but you don't need to worry about what anyone else is doing monologue wise or what they're wearing. It's just you and your moment. That I remember thinking that to myself. I'm not speaking that from I did compare myself. I wish, like, I remember holding fast to my own little journey thing. And anytime I got too noisy with people talking about, oh, who do you think that person is? What about that agent? I deliberately would tune out and just kind of, I think tuning out is really good, and just keeping a really quiet focus on what you want to get out of it, and making sure that I mean, if you haven't already chosen your pieces, just try and show as much range as possible, like without going crazy. But I remember I did something quite dramatic and something quite funny, and and some people just did two things that were kind of, I had a bit of both, but I went to the ends of the spectrum, and that pleased me. But so just, if you want to show as much as yourself as you can, and enjoy the time, because even though their vocal warm-ups might be driving you mental by the end of year 4, just like, you'll never see them again. Probably not really, not in this intimate way. So just, it's a good time just to let it all go and enjoy yourself.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it, Harriet, that the actor has to have a thin skin for the character, but the actor has to have a thick skin for themselves.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting dance, that.
I heard one, what was like the skin of an elephant and the heart of a poet.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Greta, question from you?
Yeah, sure. I'll go again. I think what's come up in our camera classes recently was kind of the topic of, like, are we obligated to be active in the Australian industry, and like what do you think about taking on that kind of balance between, like, wanting obviously to create like international content and be on that kind of level, but also supporting the industry that we have here?
It's up to the individual. It's about whether you feel ready. The earlier years in my career, I say career like it's a joke. I gotta take it more seriously. But the earlier years of my thing were also, for me, training ground. They were stepping stones for me to learn and do some more, getting more information, more failing, I personally would not have been ready. I think I graduated at 22 or 23. I wouldn't have been ready to take on anything more than I did. So I don't know, maybe they're breeding them more confident, 10 years following my birth, but I wasn't ready. So if you or anyone in your class feels like the time is now, go for it. You also don't have to. You don't owe the Australian industry anything. They will be there for you, or they won't be there for you. It's whether you want to do it or not. Like, not, they don't owe you anything, and you don't owe them anything. That's a relationship that doesn't kind of exist yet if you haven't started it. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to feel guilty. But personally, I think it's good to earn your stripes back home. I think it's really good to get into the Australian industry, because once you graduate, that's what's around you. And it's a really beautiful one. And it's always looking for new folks. And then if you want to build some relationships and do some great jobs in Australia and then go elsewhere and come back, then you have somewhere to come back to. I know that through the work, because I'm here, but I'm not. Like, I like to be in both places. tax is a nightmare. But it's good for me because I love the Australian industry and I don't feel like I owe them anything and they don't owe me anything, but that's where all my friends are and that's where my family lives. So I wouldn't think that it's about owing, it's just about what feels right for you. And it is harder if you go straight to LA or something and then you want to come back and work, unless you've gotten work in LA, that's a harder thing to restart, I think. But I don't want to freak you out.
Well, you had a calling card, Harriet, with all the shows from Australia. So when you got over there, you had a whole field of work, didn't you, I guess, behind you?
Yeah, and that definitely helped, even though it also didn't mean it much. It's an interesting thing. It can be pretty fickle here, like they're listening, but I would meet some managers and agents and feel like, here's my scroll, all my really great achievements in Australia. And they'd be like, yeah, cool. And they'd probably just look at my waist to hips ratio, half of them. And but they're not people you want to work with anyway. But it's like, do you know what I mean? I knew that it helped me though. I knew that I couldn't do the work I've been doing here without having done the work I did back home.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think rolling up with some credits helps. And they could do, oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, sure. And you like it, you haven't. But thanks.
And I heard you in an interview talking about having a headache using an American accent on set all day. There's something about working in your own culture which is important as well, I think.
Yeah. Because you want to tell stories from the place that you love and the place that you're from. That is an imperative for me anyway. And that extra jump of accent, I think, unless it's a really kind of interesting character, it can feel a little bit like just something you've got to get through to get to every thought. It can be quite uncomfortable. Like it wasn't until about Ep 8 of the in-between that I had a take where at the end of the take I realized I hadn't thought about the accent for that entire take. Like that's how present it was. And so it does give you a headache because you're doing that thing. Whereas when you're home, it's just so available. But challenge is good too.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, over to Rose, question from you.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yes, you can.
Okay. It's kind of related anyway to what you were talking about before. I have so many questions, but I guess in terms of, so I'm leaving drama school and feeling like, you're not entirely sort of ready, and so many other things that you sort of had to learn along the way as well, and like developing your American accent, for example, and being comfortable, I guess, performing with that and stuff. How did you, I guess, sorry, what am I asking? I'm asking what the gaps, or what were the skills, or what were the things that you felt like you wanted more of after ACA, or what, did you feel like you needed more training in I don't know, any particular area, or did you feel it just in terms of being ready for, I don't know, I guess the industry, I don't know. I mean, did you even decide to go into more film, or because you said that you had done more sort of theatre stuff younger, or was that something that sort of happened? So that's two questions.
That just happened. When I did the course, it was 2.5 years, not 4. So I imagine that there is more screen stuff now. Is that right, Dean?
Yep.
Yeah, because we just started it, I think, towards the end of second year. So we didn't even really have like a full year of it. I mean, I don't know if it would have helped me because I still can't watch. I don't like watching myself back, but I remember it was really valuable, those screen classes, because I did grow up doing lots of theatre, and then it was this whole new thing. And I remember once Lewis I was like, it was Lewis Fitzgerald. He was filming this. It had no dialogue. You just had to like walk through the courtyard and have these feelings. And then he played it back, and he was like, "Harriet, you just, you know, your mouth's open a lot." And I was like, "Whoa, oh, I was doing that the whole time." And that's like a valuable, silly lesson that it's like. You can learn that in one class, or you can learn that in a full year. I mean, you just got to start. You'll never be ready, I guess, is my answer, to be like, the rest you'll just learn on the job. Like,
yeah,
I felt 100% equipped to give everything a red hot go when I left anyway. Knowing that I didn't know many things, but being in a learning institution and being on the job, if you've got a good attitude, they're very similar places, I think. People will take care of you, and just ask. So like, if your first ever commercial audition or something, you don't assume that the person there knows it's your first ever commercial audition. So if you feel like you didn't nail it, just be so vulnerable and go, "I'm so new, and I'd like to do that again if you've got time." You know, just, I think in those first years out, treat it like an extension of drama school, and keep trying to learn and keep showing people that you just want to learn and do better. Maybe, if that helps.
Fantastic.
Rather than jumping into another course or something.
Oh God, no, I don't have time.
No.
I started drama. I started ACA, I think, a little bit later, than a lot of other people in my course. I'm 28, and I'm the eldest in my year at least. So it's, I guess, a bit of the opposite jigsaw. But that really resonates with me in terms of what
You don't need to worry about that.
Yeah,
you don't need to worry about age. No, because you're the TV you are now, because you did accent a bit later, and that is never a handbrake or a bad thing. That's only ever a good thing, and it doesn't. Everything's relaxing a lot more. You know, if you want to be the kind of actor that works till you're 88, then you've got 60 years.
Yeah.
You know, one of my most memorable, because it was horrible, meetings in LA was when I didn't have any representation here, and I had a meeting with UTA, who are really a big agency here. I'm now with them, but not because of this meeting. And I think I was 27, and I was sitting there. I was so excited to be in this man's office, and then it became obvious that he wasn't really interested in me. I think he just wanted to check me out and then kind of get rid of me. But in between those two things, he wanted to give me a bit of a TED talk on how LA works. And I was like, okay. So he was just sat there in his fancy chair, just like rambling, and I couldn't get a word in. And then he was like, "How old are you?" I said, "I'll be 28 soon." He goes, "Oof." He goes, every day between now and the day you turn 30 that you're not actively advancing your career in America is a day wasted.
No pressure there.
And I said to him, it's one of my proudest moments, because I didn't say it in the elevator on the way out. I said to him, "With all due respect, what I have doesn't expire at 30.
Yes.
So just hold on to a bit of that.
Yeah.
Because fuck that guy. I mean, who wants to be playing the girls in the bikinis anyway? Like, that doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. But just when you're done, and get out there and be kind of, it's okay to be new and let people know you're new.
And that conversation is the glass ceiling, isn't it, Harriet? That's someone saying your life ends here. You've got a shelf life, and it expires here. So what you're saying is, no, I'm not playing that game. That's not my reality.
No, because like one of my favorite actors is Judi Dench, and she was fantastic in Cats. No, it's yeah, it's a really important. That was a learning and a teaching moment for both of us. Like, if I saw that man now, he's actually one of my boyfriend's agents. When Patty signed with him, I was like, ew. But if I saw him now, he wouldn't know. He wouldn't know me, and he wouldn't know that he kind of set a little fire in me to kind of fuck that guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, fantastic. Let's go back to you, Tivi. Another question.
Well, back at me. Oh God. Okay. Maybe jumping on just in terms of like, again, when you finish and like representation and agents and et cetera, I've heard it can be so difficult. I mean, not only just sort of finding someone, I guess, who works like well for you and stuff, but also like knowing that the person you're working with is like pushing you in the right way or whatever. And as a female, I don't know, like, how did you find that process? Is there any advice you would give? Like like as Dean was saying before, you've really managed to, you've managed to get yourself into so many different things, which is really awesome. And also not be, typecasted as just one type of role as well, which I think is really cool too. So just, like, do you have any particular, I don't know, advice or things that you thought you did that really helped push you along there, or that you would suggest doing, or I don't know?
I think I signed with an excellent man called Trent Baker at RGM. He was at the start of he'd only been at RGM for about 6 months. He'd been at Lisa Mann, I think. And so I didn't feel it at the time because I was like, oh, Trent works for RGM. Yes, Trent, no Trent. But as I got a bit older, I realized that he was kind of starting at the company kind of when I was. And he has grown as an agent and I've grown as a performer. So I think if you know that that no one's holding, your agent isn't holding all the answers and withholding them, and they don't have all the golden tickets. They are looking to you to be led as well.
Yeah.
So without being too picky though, like it's rare that you just should say no to something, no to an audition, for example. Like, I would say yes to everything. Especially when Trent and I first started working together, I was like, yes, that. There was no like, well, no, that. I mean, unless it had nudity or something, I'd probably be a bit like, do I have to? But we have grown together, he and I, and he now knows what I want to do and what I don't. He can read a script and be like, Harry wouldn't like that, or Harry would like this, and yet they're not looking for anyone like Harry, but I'm going to pick up the phone and tell them they need Harry for this. So I think it's about knowing that it's a relationship, like anything. It's like a friendship. It's like any new relationship you start, you grow together and you learn more things about each other. And that's a dream scenario. But some people like it to be more business-like. That's not how I manage my life. I like all of my reps here and back home are my friends. I would call them and have a drink with them. Yeah. But that's me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like, yeah.
And you'll go through life together if you have a good connection and you start working. So make sure you can, make sure you're working with someone that you can call and say, I'm pregnant, or my dad's sick, or sorry, Dad, or their dad's sick. You make sure that you have maybe a rapport that will last the hard times.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that. I've heard similar things actually, like from other people that I've asked, that it's like, go with your gut and find someone you think is really gonna work for you or with you,
Absolutely. Someone that gets you.
Yeah.
Someone that gets you. And then try and grow from there.
Yeah.
I never wanted to ever sign with anyone I'd have to leave, because that's awkward and not a good conversation to have. So try and make the right choice early. And if you got to go, you got to go.
Yeah.
And it's true, isn't it, Harriet, that I mean, it's good to know that we're all on the same page, that our agent, the people we work with, want this career thing to be as good as it can be, want projects to be as good as they can be, and we're all in it together.
Yeah, and to that end, people, casting directors want you to get it. They want you to come in and make their day a lot easier. They're not sitting there going, I hope she fucks this up. Like, they might look tired or distracted, but they are rooting for you. They really are. There is no casting that is just to tick a box. They all mean something. Like, they wouldn't be there otherwise. They're too busy.
Yeah, it's like they've got a problem, they've got a headache, and they're hoping you're going to solve it and fix it for them. They want you to be good.
Just walk in and make my lunch break better, because I can go to my desk and go, I found someone, you know. Yeah. But also, you can't put pressure on yourself. I'm just saying that they want you to get it.
Yeah. I'm aware of the time. I've got 5 minutes to wrap up.
Oh, sure.
So maybe a quick question from Olivia, and then Greta and Rose, a quick one, so we can wrap up in 5. Yeah, that's Olivia.
Fine. I've got a quick one. So obviously the industry for women has changed a lot in recent times and is always growing. And I'd like to know, from your perspective, how do you think it's going to continue to change for women, and how would you like to see it change?
Ah, boy. I think it's really tricky, right, when we're little girls and older girls and young women, and we watch something like the Oscars or the Emmys, and most of the people on the red carpet are probably medically underweight. You're like, oh, you've really gone for it this Oscars season, haven't you? Look at those guns. Like, it is, I find that a little exhausting. And yet I know I'm like part of it. I know that when I've got an event coming up, I want to look good. I've never been a dieter, but I do feel the pressure to fit in a mold. But I believe that is changing. Like, and I'm really glad about that. It's certainly changing, I think, more in Australia. I'm seeing more diverse looking people on screen in Australia, which I love. But Hollywood it's a glitzy old machine, right? But I remember my first year in LA, I think I moved in like August, and I think the awards are whenever the first Emmys is after that. I'd never really watched that stuff, but it was the year that Elizabeth Moss won for Handmaids, I think. And I found it so refreshing. It was another one of those Muriel's wedding moments. Not to say that she's not drop dead gorgeous and fit and stunning, whatever she is, but she's herself. She didn't have a fake tan. She has her teeth. You know, seeing people like her win Emmys, and like Olivia Colman winning the Oscar. Did she win an Oscar? I can't remember. But she's winning. It's like these women that look like they did, you know, they look like themselves. Like they are, yeah, Frances McDormand, things like that. These women who are at the height of their careers don't all look the same. They look like themselves. So if you can just push through that middle band of like generica and then just keep climbing and don't crumble to any sort of pressure of how you're supposed to look, I think you can be proud of that then. And I think the industry is finding a lot more of that kind of stuff much more interesting.
Great. Fantastic. Thanks, Olivia. Quick one from you, Greta.
I guess a quick one would just be, what are your like top tips for doing self-tapes?
Top tips for self-tapes. That's a good one. A good reader who doesn't bump the camera. I've had like a really good tape kind of ruined by someone who was really into it, and they just were stamping around, and so just someone who's, you know, you don't want to tell your friends what to do, especially when they're doing you a favor, but they may need to just like rein it in a little. But just get a light. No, you don't have to get one of those ones that you keep in your garage. We have one that sticks on the top of a stand on an iPhone that's maybe twice the size of this. It was $50 and it's just the best. And you can take it in your suitcase when you go somewhere. And everything else you can do with books and lamps, and like if you're in a hotel and you get an audition, the rigs that I have done are hilarious. But just maybe get a light. Get a good light. A good portable light.
Not a round one? Are you against the round ones, or do you like the round ones?
I don't know much about the round ones.
Okay.
I feel like, you know what? I feel like they're probably better, but I don't know. This one you can change the warmth and how loud it is. Loud? How bright it is.
Yeah. the temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's I think it helps. You want to show them what you look like lit. Yeah. Because they will like you. Nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. We're all going to go out and buy one right away. I can see that. Final question, Rose. Over to you.
Hi. Yeah. I guess that self-tape thing was so funny. Like my audition tape for ACA was like books and things taped to the walls. Yeah. I guess like it's going to be inevitable. Like being a female, we do get those moments of like the world's judging us, and we do get really like lose that confidence. I mean, I do like crazy. What do you do, I guess, to sort of like take yourself quickly out of that toxic little hole that you can spiral into? Like, do you know your, like the moves that you make when you start to spiral, or like how do you just basically keep yourself from over fixating on like all the things that you think are wrong with you and stuff like that?
Yeah. It's ongoing, Rose. That's, it's a good question. And it's like, I think that's going to be a lifelong battle, whether you're an actor or not. Like, I think everyone deals with it, but we deal with it a bit more because we are under scrutiny. And I remember I was doing a play at the STC at the Wharf, and the audience are almost in the round, a little bit like Belvoir. And I had the worst acne at the time. And I had started going to this woman that someone told me about who just squeezes the shit out of your face. And so she's just going at my face at like 2 p.m. I'm thinking, I've got a show date. And I was like bleeding and all swollen. And I just remember I just didn't want to go out. I just didn't want to go out there. It was just a regular Wednesday night show of a David Williamson play. And I was like, I fucking hate that audience. Why are they even here? And I went out there and like I just did a lot of acting like this because the light was on me, and like it's shit. And then I just let go, and I was like, well, maybe my character has really bad skin, you know, because these people paid the same as the night before when I hadn't been attacked. And so just got to give them a good show, you know. But it's really hard, and I still, you know, freak out. And LA doesn't help that because far out, the girls you see in the waiting rooms, they've all had a blow dry, you know, and so half the time I do too. It's like you have to kind of do enough so that you feel like you're fitting in, but you can't go overboard. And I don't know, you've just got to tune it out. You just got to tune it out and look at the things that make you you, because anytime I've just been myself, it has worked. Anytime I've put on like fake eyelashes or heels or something to a casting, I feel shit. I feel sillier. So, and that reads. I just think you can only, the best you'll ever do is if you just are yourself, and because no one else can be you. And like I was saying to Olivia, that that band of everyone trying to look the same and have a million Instagram followers and the perfect body and all of that. It's like getting above that noise and just doing really honest work. And that's where you just got to try and get up to anytime you fall into the noisy place. But it's so real. It's so real. So just try to keep out of it.
Yeah, I think there might come a time, Harriet, when you walk into a casting room and someone has a battery-powered fan hooked onto their belt, so the hair is just continually moving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There probably is. I mean, it's extraordinary. It's really there's a whole world, and it's just especially when you get in a waiting room, and you do have to just kind of be polite and nice, but don't plug into the crazy, and don't plug into the comparison monster, because that's where sadness lies.
That's so. Keep true to yourself, do your thing, put your best foot forward.
Yeah,
and look after yourself.
Yeah,
and love the work and have fun. I mean, I hope you can come and say hi when you get out of lockdown in LA, come back to Australia. Be great to see you.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love that after a 2-week quarantine with some soldiers outside.
Just your style.
Yeah, exactly. No, totally. I was thinking before about this chat, and I realized I've spoken to two bodies of student bodies of students, two student bodies before this one, and I feel like they were probably strangely premature chats, but now I'm like, well, if I do another one in 10 years, this would be strangely premature too. So you only know what you know.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Olivia, Greta, Tivi, Rose, for being there. Harriet, great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Look forward to seeing you back here. I love the fact you have fun. And I always say to the students here, there's not a lot of money maybe in it. There may be, who knows, but if you have fun and bring that to the table, there's something really important about that.
Yeah, and even if you do make a lot of money doing it, it doesn't automatically make it more fun. Like, so you may, like, the most fun I've probably had is when it wasn't making me any money, and it's like, it's you're so lucky to be paid or not paid for this, basically. to be in a world where people are sitting down in a theatre, even if there's just 4 of them to watch your play, they want you to have fun for them. And don't people say, what is it? It's not a play. It's not called a serious. It's called a play. Is that right? I fucked that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's called a play, not a serious. That's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, have fun. If I stopped having fun, I probably wouldn't do it. I wouldn't live here, that's for sure.
No, well, the Actor Centre turns 33 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
And yeah, thank you. And I think we're from day one, we've been having fun, and we're still having fun. And
absolutely. No, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be part of the family. I wouldn't be here without it, for sure.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Harriet. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And thanks for being online with us at Actor Centre Australia. And next time in Conversation, we cross to New York Live with Hugh Jackman, and we will see you then. Thanks, Harriet.
You got it. Oh, just Hugh next. Oh, couldn't get anyone better, could ya? Oh, little known star Hugh Jackman. All right. Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. See you next time. See you soon. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Good luck, everybody.